It was a moonless night, and I found myself driving alone on a desolate stretch of highway. The thick blanket of darkness outside seemed to engulf my car, and the only source of light was the dim glow of the headlights that fought to pierce through the gloom. My heart pounded in my chest. Unsure of what lay ahead, but I had no choice but to press on. I couldn't let fear get the best of me. The road seemed endless, and the silence was deafening. It felt like I was the only living soul for miles around. The trees lining the sides of the road appeared ominous, their long, gnarled branches reaching out like skeletal fingers. I tried to shake off the feeling of being watched, but an eerie chill crawled up my spine. The navigation on my phone had lost its signal, and I found myself relying solely on my instincts to guide me. The wind howled outside, creating a haunting melody that intensified my unease. I wished I had never ventured out on this ominous night, but turning back was not an option. My only hope was to reach the nearest town as quickly as possible. Suddenly, I noticed a faint light ahead, flickering like a dying candle. My heart leaped with hope. Maybe it was a gas station or an inn. As I drew closer, my excitement turned to horror. The light came from an old abandoned church, its facade crumbling and ivy-covered. The sight was so eerie that I couldn't resist the urge to stop and investigate. Reluctantly, I parked my car near the church and stepped out into the cold night. The rusted iron gate creaked as I pushed it open, and I slowly made my way up the overgrown path. The closer I got to the church, the more I felt an overwhelming sense of dread. Inside, the air was heavy with an inexplicable presence. The place seemed untouched by time, like a forgotten relic of the past. The floor creaked beneath my feet, and the echoes of my own footsteps sent shivers down my spine. Strange symbols adorned the walls, and a sense of malevolence lingered in the air. As I tried to leave the church, I realized that the door had shut on its own. Panic gripped me as I pulled and pushed with all my might, but the door refused to budge. The silence around me was deafening, and the darkness seemed to close in, suffocating me. Just when I thought all hope was lost, I heard faint whispers in the distance. My heart raced as the whispers grew louder and more distinct. The voices seemed to be coming from the walls, the very structure of the church taunting me. They spoke of forgotten sins, dark rituals, and restless spirits trapped within the church's confines. Desperation overwhelmed me, and I knew I had to find a way out. I stumbled upon an old staircase that led to the church's bell tower. I hoped to spot a way out from the vantage point above. Climbing up, I found myself face to face with the ancient bell, its massive size sending a shiver down my spine. As I scanned the horizon, my eyes fell upon a sight that chilled me to the core. I could see myself down below, standing in front of the church, but I was not alone. Shadows danced around me, and their forms seemed almost human. It was as if I was witnessing my own fate, a fate that had been predetermined by forces beyond my comprehension. With adrenaline coursing through my veins, I knew I had to break free from this nightmarish loop. Gathering all my strength, I took a deep breath and lunged at the bell's rope, hoping it would somehow summon help or release me from this curse. But as I pulled, the bell rang out, its haunting toll vibrating through the air. Suddenly, time seemed to warp, and I found myself back in my car, driving down the same desolate road. The church was nowhere in sight, and the moon had emerged from behind the clouds, bathing the world in an eerie glow. Had it all been a figment of my imagination, a vivid nightmare? I couldn't be sure. I continued to drive, trying to shake off the unsettling experience. The events of that night haunted my thoughts for days, and I couldn't help but wonder if I had stumbled upon a dark and malevolent force that lurked in the depths of that forsaken road. From that day on, I vowed never to venture out alone on a moonless night, for there are things in the darkness that are better left undisturbed.